working him to the body.
And then that's what happens.
Yeah.
And then that's what happens.
That's what happens. And nobody wants
Then
to
that's
fight.
what happens.
Every fucking time. Every fucking round. Sorry.
Well, except round one. Round one, they
It was flash. It was pop. It was
welcome
pop.
to the Just Bake channel. This is a channel where we
Do things and say.
Hey man, every now and then we'd like to talk about something current that happens, and something current that just happened was Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul in an exhibition bout.
It was an exhibition. And I forgot that after I watched it. I'm like, well, who won? Oh, it was Exy? Okay.
XO.
Sorry, I forget they don't really.
But that's why they repeat that a million times throughout, because they know that people are still just gonna same thing. But it's
who
natural
won?
because every other fight that you watch, you know.
You see Floyd, he goes rounds. You know who a winner is. You know, well, obviously with him, every time he goes, he's never lost. So
Baby, come through.
you know the results, Floyd.
You deserve rounds tonight.
So for people that were underneath a rock or perhaps behind the wall or don't know at all, Floyd Mayweather, longtime champion, retired. He's about, what, 44 right now?
He is 44.
44 years old.
Retired with a record of 50-0.
50-0.
But as a lot of people like to call it 49 and Conor McGregor, because
I know.
but
The 50 was like a default. Like, you just slid that in to get 50.
the 50 was exactly. The 50 was, well, I might as well get 50.
I need to get 50, so why not that guy? Yeah, well, say what you want. Floyd has made a hell of a career, made a lot of fucking money.
Hell yeah.
And he shows you it very much so. So to come out of retirement, you know, to me, it had to be the bag. The bag.
Hey man, he said that he got $30 million just off the fucking patches on his trunks. I'm not mad at him. Man. When you see that bag,
Yo, the bag is heavier than you, nigga. You know you are on top. So Floyd came out of retirement to fight YouTube sensation
Logan Paul. And now listen, the reason I really give Logan Paul a lot of credit is because he has literally had 2 boxing matches before.
Right.
And now you get to fight.
First one, right?
And then the second one was a tie.
Right.
And then you get to fight Floyd Mayweather. Like, what?
Right. I know. When they were interviewing him, he goes, like, listen, this is like my second fight. And it's Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like,
And he lasted 8 rounds with him. Now, I saw today, there's footage out there where they say, which I believe it's just, you know, people like to get their own narrative. They say that Floyd knocked him out with a punch and held him up and kept him up. Calm down.
I don't remember seeing that.
Because it didn't happen. It was just, because what as we saw what Logan Paul was doing, which made sense for his fight tactic, was, hey man, this dude's hit me too many times. Grab on. Grab on.
Slug it out. Hold me.
Yep. Like Floyd even said it after the bout. He had said, he's like, the guy's a hell of a wrestler. He's a hell of a grappler. You know.
He can grapple like nobody's business.
Yep.
Lock arms, bring it in. Because he was a wrestler. Behind the scenes of him.
Good wrestler from Ohio, which is a hell of a wrestling state.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I mean, to look at him, his physique wise, he's a big guy, man. He's like 6'3", maybe 6'2". He's tall.
He's up there.
And he works out, so the guy's in a pretty great
trained like a
condition.
mug,
Right.
man. You could see. I mean, come on, he was in that Dolph Lundgren shape,
Right.
You know.
And you know what's crazy? Like, because a lot of people were, shitting on him. Oh, because it's like, yo, not for nothing. I get it because it's the YouTube guy who became famous. Nobody wants to see him win out of anything besides YouTube. So it's like, why not, though? The guy actually trained to do the shit, so what's the problem? You know what I mean? Like, he trained his ass off to actually put in the work.
Yep.
And shout out to Chad Johnson, who was one of the undercards. We'll discuss him a little later. But, yeah, that was, what are you going to do? You can hate on him, but he got in that ring with fucking one of the greatest boxers in our era. How he said it's like one of the greatest boxers of our era right now.
Yep.
And I fought him. You know what I mean? Exhibition or not, I felt his wrath.
And I think it does also speak to how good Floyd Mayweather was and still is to be 44 years old, fight a 26-year-old, and last 8 rounds. And even though, it's both of them lasted with each other,
Right.
and it was, I give props to both of them for lasting 8 rounds, because Floyd, they're talking about, oh man, he could have taken him out whenever he wanted to. I don't think so, because Floyd hit him hard as fuck a couple of times. And when Floyd hit Conor McGregor, it did a whole lot of damage. When he hit Logan Paul, I'm not saying it didn't hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not saying it didn't affect him.
The man could take a punch.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, not to be a boxer, but you still got to remember you have to be able to take the punches. You know what I mean? Like, some people are great boxers, but, they got sweet spots. You know what I mean?
And
like,
of course, Floyd was faster. Of course, man, he's got that speed.
Yep.
Logan Paul, he had a good first round. And that's the other thing, too. Logan Paul, he definitely won at least one round, which is, man, when you're saying this is this guy's third boxing match ever, only his second opponent,
right?
And he wins a round against Floyd, you know, the age difference and all that, but still, man.
Fuck. Step in the ring with Mike Tyson right now and slide one in on him at fucking 50-something. You still feel like somebody, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, that's Mike, man. That nigga still, you saw that last fight. He still got popped. Mm-hmm. And all it takes is to be in front of one of those to get actually hurt.
Yes.
So,
I mean, the fight wasn't as great as anybody wanted it to be. There's definitely the narrative out there of like Floyd was just playing with his food. Yep. I'm sorry, but there's no
faking getting punched.
There's no faking getting punched, and to me, there's no like Floyd. Even after the match, he was like, he kept saying, like, he kind of dodged the question and just kept saying, like, "Hey man, I want to entertain the people. Want to entertain the people." To me, you entertain the people by knocking this motherfucker out in the second round.
Right? You want to give people something to see, Floyd? Knock that nigga out.
Yeah,
because that's where the boos came in heavy. They booed him heavily because they expected him being a professional boxer and this guy just starting out that he should have did more damage on him.
And for me, I say the boos were definitely more in Floyd's direction because they were booing the match because the match wasn't that exciting. But to me, and even Logan Paul had said after the match where he was like, "Yeah, I went in with a game plan, but I also went in with like, I'm going to let him dictate what happens and try to react to him because obviously he's the elder in the situation. And he knows more about, I'm trying to react to what he does rather than go in with a barrel game plan and get pieced up." But,
right. Yeah, it was an A for effort and maybe even more A+ because like I said, just to go slugging it out, man. He was throwing some slugs, man.
Yeah.
Like he came in there and it was like he was throwing them like Floyd just, did what the little kid did. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Tuck up because
and Floyd meant, when Floyd ducks, right? Now, because there were a lot of times, like one time Logan Paul hit him on the back and the ref was like, "Don't hit him," but Floyd Mayweather is literally ducking down, and when he ducks, he's underneath the second rope. So, like, how do you gotta, know.
Right. The uppercuts is like at his
But
kneecap.
that's the genius of Floyd Mayweather is that he can dodge like that, and man, because that's one of the thing about, Logan Paul's so much taller. Of course, it's an advantage, but when Floyd Mayweather ducks down and he's impossible to hit because he is.
Well, you think about Mike Tyson too. That's why he was always
got low.
Because the guy was he was shorter than most of all the heavyweights. So
fucking
it's like
pit bull.
You're right. It's like, these guys. Big McNeely comes in there 6'3" and he fucking knocks the pizza crust out of the guy's face. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Go look at the pizza crust commercial. You'll see it. Hurricane McNeely.
Right.
That's when the cheese and the crust came out. That nigga knocked him.
Started eating it backwards.
Yeah. So, but Floyd, man. And what kills me though is why people were booing. It's like if you know Floyd, you watched every one of his fucking fights. He's not a knockout guy, and now you're asking him to knock out a guy that even though he's not a professional, this guy trains and he's fucking got him by 30, 40 pounds. Like that's something that's never gonna happen in real life.
Yep.
As far as weight division in boxing, he'll never fight a guy that size.
Yeah.
Then for him to handle the way he did, man, you know what I mean? That was it was official to me.
I hope that Floyd comes back and fights the younger brother, Jake Paul. I think that would be great too.
And Jake's the one that knocked out Nate Robinson, right?
He knocked out Nate Robinson. He knocked out that other UFC fighter. But what I was going to say too is I think a lot of people have become so used to MMA that when they watch boxing, they kind of forget that it's not as explosive and exciting as MMA.
Because MMA is like you're striking all the time, or you're changing up positions to,
Yeah, and MMA, when it goes the full length, and plenty of fights go the full length, but when it goes the full length, it's different than when boxing goes the full length, because when an MMA fight goes the full length, there's usually damage done on both sides.
Right.
This shit goes the full length, and you're like, well, they both kind of seem to be a little bit shy and a little bit careful, and of course, Floyd wasn't trying to get rocked, because like you said, dude.
Right, people want him to be like, yo, just drop your guard and take those punches, Floyd. Like, that's the
go in chin first. Don't do that.
Just so you could be like, because what everybody wants to see is a knockout.
The knockout.
And there's people that were just like put money up just because they were hoping Floyd got knocked out.
Yeah.
And he knows it and he loves it. You know what I mean? He talks about it all the time. It's just beautiful. He gets into his DJ Khaled shit. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. We the best. You know what I mean? He gets into that bag of things, but he's not dumb by any means, man. He knows what he's doing.
And he made a kind of almost hinting at retirement thing at the press conference afterwards. We'll see, man. I'm sure if the bag is big enough, then, he's coming back for whoever.
Come out, man. It's like, hey, listen, we want you to fight fucking Holyfield. $30 million. How's it sound? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure. Where we got to go? $100
But-
million.
Man, I appreciate that he came out and did it. And even though it wasn't as exciting, I think people need to temper their. And it's same shit, man. I posted a meme about it because in the moment, yeah, it's not that fucking great. But
you paid to watch some boxing, and people paid they want to see some sparring, man.
yeah,
So when you got the legend in there, tap dancing around, people forget. They go, "Oh man, fuck this guy." And it's like, listen, he's always gave you that. You know what I mean? That's been his appetite. I mean, that's been the way he serves his food. Like, yo, I'm gonna dance around. I'm not getting hit. No, it's not gonna happen.
yeah. Even though I don't think it necessarily lived up to the hype, man, it was exciting for a little while when I was watching it. I watched it live, and like there was that, oh my god, because it was just surprising that it got in the ring, man.
Right.
And I'll say it was funny for the production thing. There definitely was how when people were watching those Triller fights with Jake Paul and there's just the pomp and circumstance around it. This had a little bit of that when it's like, all right, finally Logan Paul got to the ring after his entrance. Then, ladies and gentlemen, the Migos. Then they come out and perform a song as they walk to the ring, but they're not walking Floyd Mayweather to the ring. They just performed a song in between, them walking. And then Floyd comes out with Moneybag Yo, and he performs a song as he walks him to the ring.
Right.
And it was just like,
everybody got a piece of the bag, huh?
Yep.
You get some. You get some. Yeah. It was one of those things, man, where you gotta. It's an entertainment of it, man. You got to see fucking. If you're a big Floyd fan, then what? You got excited because you got to see Floyd actually get out there and pop gloves again. You know what I'm saying? It's, you take it for what it is. If you hated Floyd, you watch because you want him to lose so bad.
Yep.
So he won at the end of the day. The guy's fucking smiling all the way to the bank.
Same shit. The Mike Tyson fight that happened versus Roy Jones, that wasn't necessarily that exciting. Him and Roy Jones, I feel like they had kind of a, all right, just don't punch me in the head. You know what I'm saying? Like but it's that spectacle of like, man, when the Undertaker comes back out in wrestling, you're not expecting him to dive over the top rope, man. Oh, cool, man, we got to see him.
Right.
And that's it.
It's like watching Rocky though. You know, how many Rockies are there? There's a lot. And you'll get to a certain point like, all right, guy. How many times is Rocco going to get in the ring? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Remember even in one of the last ones when they had to literally break it down to where like, listen, I'm not gonna be in there long, so what I gotta do is I'm just going for power punches this time.
Yeah,
they literally had to explain it.
There was one of the last ones he had put out when he was older, and remember he was training for it the whole time for that big fight, last fight, and it was like, man, you didn't see his physique through the whole movie. And then his physique comes out in that last scene when he's in the boxing ring. But then the camera looked funny to me. So I swore up and down. I said, this nigga got digital muscles. I ran with that for the longest. Like, yo, this nigga got digitally enhanced muscles. And the screen looks different in the boxing match than it did for the whole movie. You know, when you could tell, like, the lens changed? Like, yo, we had a different cam through the whole movie. Now the cam is different inside the boxing ring. And they're going to say they just try to give a different kind of epic feel. Nostalgia almost. Like, no, you want to enhance them. You know what I mean?
Right.
His fucking body was phenomenal. And I'm just like, no way. He was like fucking almost 60, but it can be a way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Floyd still got it. 44.
Man, Floyd did his thing. Also, of course, you got to give props to Logan Paul for surviving that because no matter what people want to say, he's been boxing for 3 fucking years and he survived 8 rounds with Floyd Mayweather. Come on, man.
He took some shots, man. There was some slow-mos in there, man. His fucking bell was rung. There was some mommy daddy button. Bing.
Because there were some quick, Floyd's quick, man. He still got that speed.
Right. And good thing for Logan, he's got a chin. So it's like you got a chin, you good, man. You can stay in there.
Yep.
Because like you said, he's probably been hit by stronger guys. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was boxing against people his size and through the whole camp. I watched a couple of the videos that he had put out. Yeah. And man, he's doing his thing, but when you go against literally one of the best of all time, I don't know if he's pound for pound the best of all time, but in his weight division, he's definitely the best of all time.
It's like you put him in his weight division and say who hasn't he beat in his time. He always says that. He's like, in my time, there's nobody I ran away from. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Whoever was the best in my weight division, I took him on and I handled him.
And then, of course, everybody has their own opinions on there. Did he fight Canelo at his prime? Did he? But also, people do things on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of the things that Jake and Logan Paul have been saying that I agree with, where they're like, you guys are shitting on me for fighting an MMA fighter in my 3rd and 4th boxing match, but what do boxers do? They fight tomato cans until they're 17-0, and then they go get some money.
Right. He went right into the organically grown niggas.
These guys are doing a similar move of, next Jake Paul's fighting Tyrone Woodley. That shit's going to be crazy. I think in August.
I don't know him.
Yeah, he's UFC cat, but really, really good UFC cat, but he lost like his last 4 UFC fights. But the dude was still, he champion. You know, he's dangerous as fuck.
He's
so
that guy.
that's going to be another. And the other guy that he fought, Ben Askren, was a wrestler. Tyrone Woodley is a fighter. He's a striker. And he also has other skills as well, but, you know, much more of an up-top game compared to Ben Askren, of course.
Okay. Yeah, so these guys took their platform and found other things to do. It's like, yeah, they're making money. They're the YouTuber. That mean they don't have other interests, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just because he's a fucking YouTube content creator doesn't mean the guy might not be good at something else.
and people aren't play boxing. I'll tell you that. You
right.
know what I'm saying?
That's
like you're really getting punched in the face. And that's
the way
one
around
thing.
it.
That is one thing that I did like about this match, because the only thing I didn't want to see was some complete bullshit, and we didn't. You know what I mean? I don't think either one of them had a beforehand. Don't
don't punch me here, don't hit me here.
Yeah,
I have a very soft tempo. I need you to be careful. I was like, no, nigga, I'm hitting that button. You going down. He had a little mouse on him though. I think he swelled him up a little bit.
Yeah,
Logan was a little. He probably got some day after effects, you know, going on.
Yeah.
Little stars he's still seeing. Like, oh, what was that?
Yeah.
Like, why do I see stars every time I blink? The lights go out.
Man, I felt bad for some of those early cats though, because one of the things that they did was they did it outside, and then it starts fucking pouring rain, and at one point there's literally like 3 guys in the ring with towels on their hands and knees wiping the shit off.
Slippery as shit.
Man,
yeah, I think one of the cards the guy kept complaining that he felt he was robbed. I think it was the Hurd fight, Arias. And he was like, yo, I won, but, you know, a couple of them was like, it was slips down, but whatever, I ain't get them points. Like,
yeah.
It was tough, man. Was that a slip down? Or because it's like you get caught with a punch as you slip. It's like,
it was tough.
Yeah.
But that Cash App logo, you could tell, was slick, and they kept falling on that shit. But
fucking Cash App took over that one.
Yeah, that was a good fight. What was the other fight? The Chad Ochocinco, man. I give him
Ochocinco's the first one. Yeah, man. And I didn't know. I didn't even look at the card, so I didn't know. I was like, oh shit, being a football fan and shit. Like, oh, Chad Ochocinco Johnson. Oh, the shit talker. Okay, retiree. Came out to spar, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and I give him props, man, because they ran a little video package on him before where he was talking about just like, hey, man, I'm just trying out new things. I want to see what I can do while I'm still at an age if I can do them. And I give him credit. Like, he got knocked a couple of times, but he threw some good punches as well. You know, he cracked that dude a couple of times.
He had
some speed. He had some speed.
But when that knockdown came, boy, it was, you know, the room spun. He thought he was back on the field and just got, you know, blindsided by a nigga, by a cornerback and shit. Like,
and you could tell after that happened, he was like, okay, what do we have, 15 seconds left? I just need this to be over. I'm going to run around, throw it over.
He was spent. He was exhausted. That was one thing. It's like, yeah. And he had the shorter version where there were only 2-minute rounds. I think like 4 or 5 of them.
They had 2-minute rounds.
You know what I mean? Like 4 2-minute rounds. But it's like, yo, that's 8 minutes of throwing. You know, you could fucking throw one punch for fucking 2 minutes. You're going to be tired.
Hold your hands up for 2 minutes. Literally just stand here and hold your hands up for 2 minutes.
Right. You're going to get some fatigue to it.
Yeah, man. You're going to start feeling some burning all up in there. The other fight, the dude just got fucked up, but he also got punched in the dick like twice. I
was in and out on that when I was like changing around. Yeah. Was that we began with a B or something?
Oh, no. That fight, the Arias fight, he got hit twice, I think. And then the other, man, it was just, you know, you were just waiting for the main event.
Right.
You know?
I know. It's like, these guys are cool, but let's
go
on.
That's what I appreciate that they do is that it's just 4 fights total and then we're done. Yeah. I appreciate that shit, man, because
like some ones that go forever, man. It's like,
you know how many shows we played where like, oh, there's 25 rappers on this bill? Cool.
Don't worry, you guys are going to 19th slot.
Yeah.
I hate you, nigga, and everything you stand for.
So they're just being, hey man, there's 4 fights. Let's do that. Let's knock it out. Even a lot of I like what they're doing with battle rap these days. Where we're like, yo, we got 5 battles. That's it. I mean, and there's shit like Summer Madness Gnome where there's
right. You got to fill up the space.
We got fucking 12 battles because it's a WrestleMania type shit. But I like for the most part where they're just like, hey, let's do a couple. Let's make sure we get everything so it's not. You don't need nobody on stage at the last minute of like, oh yo, we got to finish up because we got 10 minutes left to do this battle. Like. Come on.
Yeah, get your shit together and put it in a bag, nigga.
But man, I also felt for Logan Paul because you could tell he was happy to be there. Like he was talking to Floyd in the ring at one point where he was just like, I think he said something to the effect of like, do you believe this is happening? To where it was like, well, Floyd probably, but like, you, of
nigga,
course.
I've been doing this.
Exactly.
This is the big moment, man. For him, he's excited like a kid. Like, oh my God, I watch you all the time, Floyd. Like, I always had an interest in boxing, but oh shit, here I am now fighting Floyd Mayweather.
Even I give it to him because, man, after the boxing match in the ring, he had even said of like, man, I didn't want to be mean to you. Like, I hate doing that shit. Like, of course, I looked up to you. I watched you growing up,
Right,
you know?
right.
I love you guys, you know, instead of just like, they did the, you know, back and forth shit. It was
Right.
whatever it
Brother
was.
stole his hat and all that other
yeah,
good
they
shit.
do that shit to sell the fight. And
Right.
then,
You got to get, boxing's always been that way too,
Yep.
you know, and that was one of the things, like, shout out to Muhammad Ali. What he was saying, where, because, you know, it's like, oh, Muhammad Ali's like one of the pioneers of shit talking in boxing, especially. You know, I think he kind of was, you know what I mean? People weren't talking like that.
he got under people's skin.
Right. And he was talking in an interview I saw with him where he was like, a lot of that came from him as a youth. He was a big fan of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So he was like, I forgot somebody was his favorite in the league he
It
watched.
might have been Billy Graham, superstar Billy Graham, because
that
he was one of the early, like, he was Stone Cold before Stone Cold. He was The Rock before Rock. He was Hogan before Hogan.
Yeah, so he was talking about, like, you know, and he got to meet him he said when he was, so it might have been before that, I don't know, because he was talking about when he was a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
He was watching wrestling. I don't know when Billy Graham was around, but he was like, you know, when he was young and he used to go to wrestling and, you know, he was, you know, sparring, so he was kind of young, but like not kid. He was like teenage.
Yeah.
So he's like in that, you know, but he loved wrestling. And he said, went and he said, remember one of his favorite wrestlers he got to meet, and he told him, he says, you wanna win the people, you got to get a gimmick, kid. You know what I mean? He said, you got to get a gimmick. He said, so he basically told him, take this template of this wrestling, what's going on, and run with that, what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you think about it, like, he did. And it was like, because people were like, wanted to see him lose. Same thing with Floyd. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I fucking can't stand that cocky motherfucker. Because that's not what they're used to. They're used to the traditional, humble, I'm a boxer, I'm going to go there, give my best, left, right. You know what I'm saying?
Gorgeous George.
That's
who it was. Yeah, Gorgeous George was dope.
Yes, and not the Gorgeous George from New Haven, Connecticut. If you know about him out there, he did bad things to people.
He was a true showman and credited this part of his personality to Gorgeous George. Ali said it all began when Ali, known as Cassius Clay at the time, met Gorgeous George at a Las Vegas radio station before one of George's wrestling matches. Clay was 19, George was 46.
See, yeah, he was a teenager.
Yeah, Gorgeous George was running shit back in the day.
You want to be the man? Get you a gimmick, kid. I'm telling you. So then that's when he's like, I got to talk shit.
He was one of those wrestlers back in the day where, like, yeah, it became popular later, but he, you know, the wrestlers back in the day were fucking hard, grizzled, you know, you just, all right, we got black trunks, black boots, that's what and he was one of the first, he was one of the first to come out and be pretty. Like, he would come out in the gold robe with the hair, and he'd have a lady out there with a mirror for him, and he was trying to look pretty and shit.
Metrosexual ass kicker.
Yeah. And he would get the crowd pissed at him because, oh, that's not how you, and you got to remember, now back in the 50s, they weren't trying to see that shit.
Flamboyant, exactly. Bitch, you know, it was definitely frowned upon.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm sure he was called all types of sissies and, you know.
But boxing has that same vibe, man. So that's why, you know, Floyd brings that to it. You know, and not for nothing, with him leaving, man, that kind of leaves boxing out there. Because MMA is like where it's at right now as far as popularity-wise, you know. Floyd was that kind of last hold to that kind of shit-talking boxing. I mean, there's still, of course, I'm not saying boxing's dead, but popularity-wise, it's there, I would say, you know.
Yeah, MMA really did take over, man. It's more exciting most of the time, and there's only certain boxing matches that can get people up and get people excited.
And MMA, and you think about it, their matches aren't the time, they're not that long.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's because of what they're exerting so much energy, man. It's like, you can't put those long ones on that, man.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, you don't need that much time. Like, these guys are exhausted. They're trying to fucking kill each other for 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, or 5 minutes, however long those rounds are. No, it was all right, though. This was, I was a little more pleased than I thought I was going to be, I guess.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I thought I was going to be a little more disappointed. How I kind of was a little more disappointed in Mike's shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was like no punches. You know what I'm saying? With him and Roy, like, you niggas didn't throw one fucking punch. These guys were at least popping them gloves, man. There was some contact happening. So.
And they both hit each other a couple times. That was cool. You know, like, I don't think Logan Paul really had, like, when Conor McGregor fought him, he had the uppercut that shocked the world.
Right.
But and that's the thing too, they're both so fast, and boxing is so fast that a lot of it you see on the replay, and you're like, oh shit, he hit him hard.
Oh, his face moved.
Because there was one time on the replay, I didn't even know Floyd got hit like that, but Logan hit him with a left and a right. Like, he caught him coming in with the left, and then he hit him with the right across the side of the head. I had no clue that happened, and I was watching the entire fight.
Yo, that nigga Floyd just got an edge up mid-match.
For real.
Whoa, hairline adjusted.
But that is one of the things about that Sweet Science is, man, it's quick. Yeah. These guys are skilled, and they fight quick. Now, like I said, man, after the fight, of course, it's birthed some hilarious memes. It's been great. It's there's some great hugging memes out there because a lot of it was, man,
hug me up.
Hold up.
We tired out here. Hug me.
Yeah.
Hold me. But I mean, the commentators though, talking even about them is like, I was like, come on, guys. They was giving so much shit of like, because they were so pro that Floyd was supposed to win this one that they didn't even give this kid a shot. And I get it because he's not, but they were like, just like shitting on, here you go, Mr. YouTube. I like,
man, I don't understand who thinks Desus and Mero are any sort of funny, entertaining, anything. Like, I don't get it, dude.
Desus and Mero, they're connected and they talk the right way to the right people.
Yeah.
That's
like because they came off corny as fuck in that entire thing to where it's like they just tried to do sound bites because they thought he was going to get knocked out. Like you could tell they kept trying to say things that could be on a replay of him getting knocked out, and the dude didn't get knocked out, and it's like,
oh, it's over now. That's the mommy daddy button. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like no, he's still there. I forgot they were commentating because there was a little swag thrown in there, New York swag, and I was like, all right, these cats sprinkling a little bit of.
And even Mauro Ranallo, who's a professional announcer, even he was just like, oh, Logan Paul's getting rocked and taking it, and was like, I don't know what you guys are watching, but it's not. That's not happening. Right. You know what I mean? Like they kept trying to like say what they wanted to happen instead of what was happening.
And it's this is to be expected. Who does this guy think he is, bro? He didn't get murdered, man.
No. Like I would say, if there were judges, if it was on the cards, of course they would have given it to Floyd. Yep. But like, there's no pretending that like Floyd rocked him and he barely survived 8 rounds. Like
dude,
that.
You were
didn't
so
happen.
lucky. Like no.
Yeah.
Floyd, you were so lucky that nigga didn't put you down once because even if he didn't knock Floyd out, but got a knockdown, that's a win to him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. Win a lot of people's eyes. Yo, he knocked Floyd on his ass. You know why? Not only because it's Floyd, because motherfuckers don't do that to Floyd.
Yep.
Floyd don't go on the ground like that. You know what I'm saying? He don't get punching him out that often.
Yeah. So that's why, man, I think it's a win for Logan Floyd for Logan Floyd. For Logan Paul. Just man, you survived 8 rounds with fucking Floyd Mayweather. Come on, man. That's shout out to you.
Right. I don't give a fuck if you was 6'9", nigga. Tall wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You gonna get hit in this right spot by a little Floyd.
Right.
Who will hit you right in that button. And your fucking shit's done.
But I can tell you, man, I'm excited to see what they both do next. I'm excited to see if Logan Paul still decides to box and if he moves on to other opponents or if he goes, man, I hit the pinnacle. I'm done. Same thing with Floyd. I wonder if Floyd comes back for any big money fight or if he's perhaps at the point where he just goes, hey, man, I've cheated death long enough. Yep. Because that's what I remember 50 Cent was saying back in the day where he's like, man, it's going to happen one time. Floyd's got too much of an ego where he's going to go out where he shouldn't have gone out and get rocked. Because, once again, for Logan Paul to fight 3 matches ever and survive 8 rounds with Floyd Mayweather, what happens if somebody that's been boxing for a long time fights Floyd? Right, it could end a lot different.
It's right. So it's very strategic, very smart, Floyd. And, you showed up and you were, a sportsman through it.
Yeah. But how close are you going to get to that flame? You know what I'm saying? Right. How many times are you going to go put your hand over that stove?
Now. I think you can stop now. I think you stop now, nigga. I'm just, come on, Floyd. What you got to prove? Don't make me think you're running too much money. That's why you're running for that bag. But I just think he just can't turn down the bag,
It's tough.
That good old feeling back. Like, this when I used to sell out fights. I can't turn this feeling down.
Yep.
Can't, man. I look forward to possibly being 70 one day. Maybe there's going to be a 70-year-old match. You know what I'm saying?
I can see it.
Floyd Mayweather, 75, fighting again. That'll be phenomenal. Hope to be there.
Right?
Yeah, but that was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. And, every now and then, man, we'll check out these just spectacles that are happening,
Yeah, falling down. So the Paul brothers, the Ryan brothers there, just keep doing what y'all doing, man. Content, boxing, people are tuned in.
Shout out to Paul Wall.
Yeah, I mean they're not. I don't follow heavy like their everyday things. They are because they're so famous. But
yeah, same.
Yeah, I'm not a big follower, but I respect. So respect to that to you.
Truth, respect to both of those cats, and I understand, man. The internet should go nuts, and try not to make too many excuses because there's that worst shit of. There's always the fight that's about to pop off on the playground, and you know what the pussy does? He goes, you're not worth it. And that's so for all the people going like, well, Floyd could have knocked him out at any point. He just didn't want to.
Right.
Don't do that to yourself.
Right.
Because that's not what happened.
It wasn't worth it for Floyd to actually possibly bruise his knuckle and hurt himself punching this guy in the face because he's not worth it.
The worst.
I know. That is the punk out move. Is like, no, you want to go fight that kid. But to make it seem like you're the better person, you're like, it's not even worth it.
Yep.
I'm so much better than that. But your mouth is bleeding. So it'll heal. He won't heal from his ugliness. I know, but you'll feel a lot better if you punch him in the mouth. That's all.
Truth. But yeah, man, until next time, this is a Just Bake channel where we
do things and say stuff. Uppercut. Sorry.
And then hug.
And then hug. Keep doing things, people. Keep saying stuff.
Click the links.